welcome to my channel. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. I remember hearing this story from my grandfather when I was younger. Back in the old days, in a small Hmong village deep in the mountains, life was simple. People woke up with the sun, worked in the fields, and came home to their families. But like any other place, there were stories. Stories meant to keep kids in line or warn people about wandering too far. But there was one story, one that no one dared to tell too loudly, about something lurking in the forest. It started with a man named Nang. He wasn't anyone special, just a regular guy trying to make a living. He had a wife and 2 kids, and they were happy enough. But Nang had one bad habit. He was greedy. If there was a way to make extra money or get more food, he would take it, even if it meant cutting corners or taking what wasn't his. People in the village warned him about his ways, saying greed invited bad spirits. Nang would just laugh it off. One day, while clearing some land near the edge of the forest, Nang found something strange. There was a large stone, smooth and dark, with carvings etched into its surface. The carvings looked old, way older than anyone in the village could figure out. The stone seemed out of place, sitting there in the middle of nowhere. But what really caught Nang's attention was what was buried beneath it. When he moved the stone, he found a pile of silver coins, enough to make anyone rich back in those days. His heart raced. He looked around to make sure no one was watching and quickly scooped up the coins, hiding them in his bag. He figured this was his big break, his chance to get ahead. That night, though, something strange happened. As he lay in bed, he heard a soft whispering sound. At first, he thought it was just the wind, but the sound didn't stop. It grew louder, and soon it felt like it was inside his head. The whispers weren't in Hmong or any language he knew. It was just wrong. The next day, Nang tried to brush it off, but he couldn't get rid of the feeling that he was being watched. Every time he turned around, he swore he saw shadows moving in the corner of his eye. He told himself it was just his imagination. After all, he had the coins now, and life was going to be better for him and his family. But as the days went on, things got worse. His kids started waking up in the middle of the night, crying and pointing at the corners of the house, saying they saw someone standing there. His wife complained of nightmares, dreams of a dark figure standing at the foot of their bed, staring at them with hollow eyes. One night, while sitting by the fire, Nang finally told his wife about the coins. He pulled them out, shining and bright, and laid them on the table. She gasped, asking where he got them. When he told her about the stone, her face went pale. "You shouldn't have taken them," she said, her voice shaking. Nang laughed it off, saying it was just old superstition, but his wife wouldn't let it go. She begged him to return the coins, to put them back where he found them. She even got the village elder involved, an old man who knew all the stories and legends. The elder took one look at the coins and shook his head. "These are not for us," he said. "They belong to the spirits of the forest. If you keep them, they will come for you." But Nang was stubborn. He wasn't about to give up his newfound fortune because of some old story. He told the elder to mind his own business and stormed out. That night, the whispers came back, louder than ever. Nang couldn't sleep. He tossed and turned, sweating despite the cool night air. Then, just as he was about to drift off, he heard it, a low, creepy growl coming from outside. He sat up, his heart pounding. The growl came again, closer this time. He grabbed a torch and stepped outside, determined to prove to himself that it was just an animal. But what he saw froze him in his tracks. Standing at the edge of the forest was a figure, tall and thin, with long tangled hair that covered its face. Its arms were too long, its fingers like claws that scraped the ground. The figure didn't move, just stood there staring at him. Nang tried to speak, to yell at it, to go away, but his voice caught in his throat. The figure tilted its head as if mocking him, then turned and disappeared into the trees. The next morning, Nang decided he'd had enough. He was going to return the coins. He grabbed the bag and headed back to the forest, his wife following behind him, holding onto a charm the elder had given her for protection. When they reached the spot where he'd found the coins, Nang froze. The stone was gone. In its place was a hole, deep and dark, as if the earth itself had opened up. He tried to throw the coins into the hole, but the moment he was about to, the air around them felt different, and the whispers came back louder than ever. The ground shook, and out of the hole crawled the figure, its body twisting and contorting as it pulled itself up. It let out a sound somewhere between a scream and a roar and lunged at Nang. His wife screamed, pulling him back, and the two of them ran as fast as they could. They didn't stop until they reached the village, but the thing wasn't done with them. That night, it came for Nang. He woke to the sound of scratching at the door, followed by that same low growl. His wife begged him to leave, to take the family and run, but Nang refused. He grabbed a knife and waited by the door, determined to protect his family. When the door burst open, the figure stepped inside, its hollow eyes glowing in the dim light. Nang gripped his knife tightly, his hands shaking. He swung at the figure, but the blade went straight through it like cutting smoke. The thing let out a deep laugh that froze him in place. The figure moved closer, and Nang felt a strange heaviness in his chest, like the air was being sucked out of the room. It reached out with one clawed hand, its fingers brushing against his arm. Nang felt a sharp, icy pain shoot through his body, and in that moment he thought he was done for. But then the figure stopped. It tilted its head as if studying him. Its hollow eyes seemed to dig into his soul, pulling at every dark corner of his heart. He felt exposed, as if the creature could see every selfish act, every lie, every bit of greed he'd ever had. And then, just as suddenly as it had come, the figure stepped back. It didn't speak, but somehow Nang understood. This was his warning. If he didn't change, if he didn't fix what was broken inside him, the creature would return, and next time it wouldn't stop. The figure turned and dissolved into the shadows, leaving Nang gasping for air. The room was silent again, except for the sound of his own ragged breathing. His wife, clutching the children, peeked out from behind the bedroom door. "Is it gone?" she whispered. Nang nodded, though his hands still shook. He didn't tell her what he had felt, what the figure had shown him. He didn't need to. He knew he couldn't keep living the way he had been. The next day, Nang took the coins and buried them in the forest, not where he had found them, but far, far away under a heavy rock. He prayed to the spirits for forgiveness and promised to live differently. From then on, Nang changed. He became kinder, more generous. If someone in the village needed help, he was the first to step up. He stopped cutting corners and taking more than his share, and though life wasn't always easy, he found a peace he'd never known before. The whispers never returned, and the forest stayed quiet. But every now and then, when he passed by the edge of the trees, he felt those eyes watching him, a silent reminder of the warning he'd been given. Thank you for listening to this video. I'll see you in the next one.